Thank you for joining our church online. We encourage you to visit citylightla.church for our service times, location, and upcoming events. If you enjoy our videos and would like to give to lives being changed in Los Angeles, visit citylightla.church/give.
Give your Bible open to Luke this morning. Luke chapter number 14. Luke chapter number 14. And I want to get into our lesson this morning. We're starting a teaching series called The Core. And here at City Light, we have some core values. You say, what is City Light about? What do we exist as a church? I know oftentimes you may be new at City Light. Maybe you've been here for a while. You know what these are. We're going to just kind of sharpen ourselves on them. But you might be here and you might be looking for a church. Maybe you're church hopping a little bit right now. And oftentimes it's interesting to say, okay, what does a church stand for? What is that church? What are they? Are they weird? Are they a cult? Right? You never really know. Like, what is that? What is happening there at that church? I'm always skeptical as well. You know, you walk into a church, you're like, man, who are these people? You know, and I just can't imagine what people think of me sometimes, like as a pastor. And you want to see a conversation get weird real fast. Wait for someone to ask you what you do for a living as a pastor, and it is hilarious. I've just stopped telling them. I just say that I'm the trash man, okay, and whatever, and people get really uncomfortable really fast. And it kind of works though. If you really want to shut down a conversation, you just tell them you're a pastor, and they walk away pretty quick. So it's kind of cool that way. It's kind of a good closer if you really don't want to talk to someone. And I would never do that anyways. But we have at City Light, we have a mission statement. We have our value, something that our vision statement, and then we have our core values, our strategy. And we're going to teach over the next 3 weeks what are our core values, and how do they apply to you and to us, and how do they help us in living for Jesus as his disciples on this journey that he's called us to. And I want to give you, first of all, our mission statement. Some of you know what it is. It's a real simple statement. It's on the screen. It's come and see and go and tell. Come and see and go and tell. You say, what is the purpose of you and I on this earth? Well, I believe we all were created for a purpose, and that is to bring glory to God. And we were redeemed to be under the praise of his glory, the Bible tells us. But if you could summarize your reason for existence right now, I believe it would be to know him and to make him known. As you know him, I think you bring glory to him, because God is a God that wants to be known. God is a God that wanted to be known so much that he came to this earth. He sent his own son, Jesus, to come to this earth to show us who God is and to show us the attributes of God and the reality of God. And then he died on the cross for our sins to redeem us back. God is a God that wants to be known. So our reason is to know him and then to make him known to people around us. I think one of the greatest ways for you and I to bring glory to God is to share Christ with people. Jesus says the entire law, all of the law, 613 laws in the Old Testament. That is a lot of laws. Jesus said, I summarize all of that into two. Love the Lord with all your heart, all your mind, all your soul, all your being. Love God. And then he says, love your neighbor as yourself. Later on in Jesus' ministry, he says, actually, I'm going to take those two and make them one. You just love people like I love people. How does God love people? God gave his own son, Jesus, to die for them. That is how God loves people. So one of the greatest ways that we can bring glory to God, one of the greatest ways we can love people is by sharing with them the message of Jesus Christ. So that is to know him and to make him known. Our mission statement is to come and see Jesus. Come and see. Don't come and see me. Nobody wants to come and see me. Don't come and see you. Nobody wants to come and see you. This isn't about anybody here but Jesus Christ at City Light, okay? Come and see Jesus and then go and tell Jesus. Come and see, go and tell. Let's say it together. Ready? Come and see, go and tell. Let's say it louder. Come and see, go and tell. That is the mission of City Light. We want to lift up Jesus, and then we want to go out and we want to tell people about Jesus. In our gatherings with our children's ministry, we want to lift up Jesus. We don't want to lift up religion. We don't want to lift up denomination. We don't want to lift up political affiliation. We want to lift up Jesus and the very word of God right here, and then we want to encourage people to go out and to tell people about Jesus and about the word of God. Come and see, go and tell. That is the purpose that you and I have right there. On our social media, come and see Jesus, Go and tell Jesus. In our careers, hey, come and see Jesus. Go and tell Jesus. In our families, we come and see Jesus. Then we go and share Jesus with our family that doesn't know Jesus. So we come and see, we go and tell. Our vision statement at City Light is we want to be a church that makes disciples for Jesus Christ. There are so many people that go to church and be like, well, I've been saved for 25 years. But you don't do anything. Your Christianity can be summarized in keeping a seat warm on a Sunday morning. That is not discipleship. Discipleship, Jesus says, is when you live out the teachings of Jesus. When you live out, when you are not just hearing them, but you are doing them. If you are continuing in the words and teachings of Jesus. Now, Jesus' teaching would have been a little radical, I think, for the 21st century church. Jesus' teaching, I think, would have offended a lot of us here today. Because Jesus would have got up close and personal, very up close and personal. We don't like even talking about money a little bit in church. Jesus talked about money more than he did heaven and hell. Because Jesus knows that money has such a grip on us. And you and I would be lying to each other if we did not realize that in America, it's even worse. Our comfort, our portfolio, our retirement, our car, our house, the American dream, the dream vacations, it has a hold on us. Money. I mean, it's crazy how you could be making $26,000 a year and still be in the top percent of wealth in the world. That is amazing. $24,000 a year. You can work at McDonald's and make that. If you're working at McDonald's, you are in the top percent of wealth in the world. Wow, don't complain about it so much. That's crazy. Just don't eat the burgers. Anyone ever seen Super Size? That Super Size series on Netflix? It officially ruined fast food for me for 2019, okay? I had to watch it just so I'd get sick and really see what goes on in that fast food. Don't eat it, man. Don't eat it. All right, so we want to be a church that says, hey, we don't want to just come and be religious or keep a seat warm, but we want to make disciples for Jesus Christ. Discipleship is living in complete surrender and obedience. It is not just taking a curriculum class called discipleship at City Light. Oh, that is a good foundation. That's something I'd encourage everyone to get enrolled to our one-on-one discipleship. But that is just giving you some practical tools and guidance in Scripture to help you become that sold-out, surrendered disciple of Jesus Christ. And then we have our core values, okay? Our mission is to come and see, go and tell. Our vision is to make disciples for Jesus. And we have our core values that we're going to teach on. To do so, our first one today, we're going to be in Luke chapter number 14. Core value number 1, here it is on the screen. We love people by connecting them to Christ and the church. You say, what is City Light all about? City Light is about loving people. And you say, well, what does love mean? How do we define love? You know what's crazy is they're showing studies in a lot of churches around the world today how the focus is coming so much on a social gospel. And a social gospel means we're talking so much about bringing clean water to people. And we ought to help with water. We're talking so much about giving food to people. We ought to give food to people. But what a lot of churches are doing is we're stopping there and we're not giving them the gospel when we do give them cold water. We're not giving them the gospel when we do give them a hot meal. I'm all about giving a hot meal, man. I'm all about cold water, okay? I'm all about missions and helping those. I'm all about Jesus helped people physically. But it didn't stop there. It was connecting them to the gospel. And so we want to connect them to Christ, and then we want to connect them to a community called a church. Not a denomination, not religion, okay, not man worship. No, we want to connect them to a community, a fellowship, a church that Jesus put in place long before man ever came up with the idea. It's not man-made, it's Jesus-made. You got a problem with the church, you got a problem with Jesus. All right? And so that is our core value number 1 right there. We're going to teach on it, Luke chapter 14, verses 16 through 23. This is the teachings of Jesus here, the words of Jesus. If you got a red letter edition Bible, he's teaching the Pharisees here, and he's trying to challenge them. Verse 16, Luke 14, verse 16 to 23. Then he said to him, Jesus, A man prepared a banquet and invited many, and sent his servant at supper time to say to those who had been invited, "Come, for everything is now prepared." The banquet is referring, he's using this as a metaphor, an illustration to show the banquet that he's prepared for us in heaven. That's redemption, that's salvation, that's an invitation that all can come to the presence of God in heaven one day. Praise God for that. He says, "Come, for everything is now prepared." But they all with one mind began to make excuses. Well, the first said to him, "I have bought a piece of land, I must go and see it. I ask you to excuse me, so I don't got time for Jesus right now. I don't got time for God right now." Another said, "I have bought 5 yoke of oxen, and I'm going to prove them. I got work, I got career, I don't got time for Jesus. I ask you to excuse me." Still another said, "I have married a wife, and therefore I cannot come. I got family." I love how he addresses all these issues. "I got my family, I'm too busy for God." The servant came and reported to this his master. Then the master of the house in anger said to his servant, again, Jesus is giving an illustration here, a metaphor, "Go out quickly into the streets and the lanes of the city and bring in here the poor and the maimed and the lame and the blind." The servant said, "Master, what ye commanded has been done, and yet there is room." Then the master said to the servant, "Go out to the highways and to the hedges and compel them to come in so that my house may be filled." Now what Jesus is doing is he's giving an illustration, a metaphor to a Pharisee. Pharisees were the religious crowd of the day. They were the ones that were against Jesus. They were the pastors of the day when Jesus showed up, and they were the ones that were skeptical of Jesus, and they were angry at Jesus because his teachings began to spread. And Jesus said to the Pharisee, "I'm going to give you an illustration, and I'm going to give you a lesson through this illustration." And the lesson was this: Jesus came for the Jews, but the Jews did not accept Jesus Christ. So he says, now I'm going to go out there and I'm going to get the poor, the maimed, the lame, the blind. That's us, church. That's called the Gentiles. Now there was a man been coming. He might be second service today. That's a believing Jew, just started coming. But majority of us in this room, probably all of us, if I was the guest today, are not 100% Jewish. We're Gentiles. And Jesus says, "Listen, I came for these ones, but they didn't want me. So now I'm telling you to go out and get anybody and everybody. Anybody can come. My salvation is not just for somebody special, it's for anybody. It's for everybody." I want to teach today out of this passage on this idea of loving people by connecting them to Christ and the church. I'm going to give you 4 principles if you're taking note, of being a church that loves people. 4 principles of being a church that loves people. Right here from Luke chapter 14, from the very teachings of Jesus. Number 1, we are a church that is open to all. We are a church that is open to all. Notice in Luke 14, verse 21, what Jesus says here. "Go out quickly into the streets and the lanes of the city." There it is on the screen. "Go out quickly into the streets and the lanes of the city and bring in here the poor, the maimed, and the lame and the blind." Look at those words highlighted in yellow. Hey, go out there and get the people that are poor, get the people that are crippled, get the people that are lame, that can't even see. Hey, I came for my people, the Jews, but they rejected me. So now go out there and get anybody and everybody. And then he says in verse 23, notice it on the screen, "Go out to the highways and the hedges." Now, if you do a little study on this, the highways and the hedges were the outskirts of the city. It was where the beggars lived. It was where the outcasts of society lived. It was where the leper colonies were at. It was where the rejects of society lived. The ones that nobody wanted in the city, they were out there. It was where the criminals were that would oftentimes rob the people traveling into the city. So you're not talking about the best of society. No, you're talking about the rejected of society. You're not talking about the upper middle class. No, you're talking about the people that don't even have a class. I mean, they're too low for a class system. They don't even know they exist. Those kind of people. The rejects of society. And in church, if we are going to be a church that loves people, we must decide to be open to all people. We live in a very divisive society. People that say they're not divisive, you are divisive. You have your little clique also. Well, I'm open to all people. We want open everything. We're open. No, you've got your little clique also. You got your little group that you're prejudiced to also. I mean, we all got some racism in our hearts. We all got some things in our hearts that we feel towards other people. We stereotype people. Oftentimes we're drawn to people and we're not drawn to people. That's called the depravity of our own heart. Oftentimes we put up walls in front of relationships. We really don't want to reach out to that person. We don't have anything in common with them. We don't really want to get to know them. But church, we must decide right now today that we want to be open to all people. No matter who they are, no matter what their background is. We've got a lot in our society going on. We got a very divisive government. And by the way, politics have always been divisive, okay? We got division everywhere. We got so many different arguments happen about this and about that. It's only going to get worse. You watch in 2 years as we go into another election. Only going to get worse. I'll tell you right now, church, however you feel about a wall, a border wall, listen, I'll let the people that are smarter than me figure all that out. Let's just love whoever comes into this country. Let's just love whoever comes into this country, and may we not even close off relationships with our own loud mouths at times. I mean, you may win the battle, but you'll lose the war. Don't sacrifice the war for the battle. Nobody cares what you think about these issues, but they do care what you think about Jesus, because that's the real hope. May we be a church that says, hey, we're open to all people here at City Light. No matter who you are, it don't matter even what your sexual preference is. Oh, we're not going to compromise the Bible. We're going to teach the Bible, but I'll tell you, this is a hospital for sick people. This is a hospital for people that are searching. And may we let this be an environment where people can come and feel loved. Oh, we don't change the message. This Bible's got a lot to say about sins of the day. And may we preach it boldly and emphatically without apology. But may we love them also and give people time to grow. Give people time to learn. Let the Holy Spirit illuminate truth to them. And that ought to be a heartbeat of City Light. Hey, we're a church that is open to all people. None of us got it together. We're all broken. This is a hospital for sick people. We're all trying to grow in grace here. But may we be a church that says, you know what? I'm no longer going to be drawn just to people that are my color of skin, people that have my same voting ideas, people that look like me or think like me. No, I'm drawn to everybody and anybody. And that's what I'm thankful. There's 30 nationalities at City Light and growing. And may that be a core value of City Light. We love all people, and this is a church that is open to all people. And I think oftentimes, we often think, well, man, if we're going to be open to everyone, we got to change the message. No, we don't change the message, because this is God's church. This is God's church, so we don't sacrifice the message to be open to all people. We're open to all people, but we still preach the message, the Bible. And we got to understand that as a church, loving people is not sacrificing this Bible. Loving people is teaching people this Bible. Because this Bible brings freedom to people in incredible ways. And so we are a church that is open to all people. I think about Luke 15, 1 through 10. Luke 15. Jesus gives us here another list of parables. It's God's lost and found department. Oftentimes theologians and commentators call it Luke 15. It's the parable of the sheep, the parable of the coin, the parable of the prodigal son. Luke 15, 1 through 10. Now all the tax collectors and the sinners drew near to him to hear him. But the Pharisees and scribes murmured, saying, this man receives, remember the Pharisees and scribes, those are the pastors of the day. This man receives sinners and eats with them. What's amazing is Jesus' crowd didn't look real religious. They were pretty rough. So he told them this parable saying, what man among you having 100 sheep and losing one of them does not leave the 99 in the wilderness and go after the one which is lost until he finds it? And when he has found it, he places it on his shoulders, rejoicing. Then when he comes home, he calls together his friends and neighbors, saying to them, rejoice with me, for I have found my sheep which was lost. Likewise, I tell you, there will be more joy in heaven over one sinner, blind, lame, crippled, one sinner who repents than over 99 righteous men who need no repentance. Jesus is not impressed with religion. I say it a lot. Religion sends more people to hell than anything else. The baptism waters have sent more people to hell than anything else, thinking they are good with God because they've done good deeds. Your righteous deeds don't get you to heaven. It is the acknowledgement that you are a sinner in need of a Savior and that Jesus is the only way. And when you repent and give your life to Jesus Christ, that is what he talks about, a sinner repenting. And then he gives us the parable of the lost coin, of what woman having 10 silver coins and losing one does not light a candle and sweep the house and search diligently until she finds it. Notice that idea of diligently. And when she has found it, she calls together her friends and neighbors, saying, rejoice with me, for I have found the coin which I had lost. Likewise, I tell you, there is joy in the presence of the angels of God over one sinner who repents. I'll tell you right now, City Light, if one person gets saved, that's good enough right here. I praise God that in 2018, we saw over 100 professions of faith in this building right here. I'm not satisfied with that number. I think there's so many more when you think about millions in LA. But I praise God that over 100 people have accepted Christ since we opened this building a year ago. Praise God for that right there. I mean, that's worth every penny put into this building to open it. That's worth all the temporary setups at Pickwick and Burbank Adult School and the Equestrian Center. That's worth the $1 million put in to renovate this building and the hundreds of thousands spent on rent before he ever got into the building. I mean, that's worth the headache of dealing with the Burbank City Council. I mean, that is worth everything. Everything. If one person got saved, but praise God, 100 plus got saved. That's awesome. He says, over one sinner who repents. See, God sees value different than we see value. I think about the coin here. This coin's value is infinite because value is determined by the owner or the creator of the coin. Now, the coin of this day would have had the image of Caesar on it. So what made the coin valuable was whose image was on the coin. Because in this country, that coin was worth a day's wage if you went back and studied it. So that coin was valuable because the image on that coin, if you would have had Ronald McDonald's face on there, it wouldn't have been valuable. Because Ronald McDonald wasn't even around there, but I'm just thinking of supersized Netflix there. Okay, Ronald McDonald, his face would buy you nothing in this day and age here. His face wasn't valuable. If you would have put your face on a coin won't go and buy you anything at Walmart. Nothing. Because your face has no value on the coin. It's not a stamp that our government recognizes. So the image on this coin made this coin valuable. The coin had the image of the Creator on it. And I think about you and I. The Bible says in Genesis 1:26, then God said, let us make man in our image after our likeness. See, God sees every person valuable because they all have the image of himself stamped on them. God sees value different than how we see value. It don't matter how broken you are or how many mistakes you've made. We referenced if you've had an abortion before. It don't matter how many sins you think you've done more than everyone in this room. It doesn't matter what kind of upbringing or baggage or education you have. None of that makes you valuable to God. None of it does. I don't care the most depraved person in the prison cell that has done terrible things to people. God will still look at them and say they are valuable because I created them in my image. That homeless person we cross over that smells like booze and it is all filled with sores and looks like they're about to die, and we look at them like they're just nasty. Get off of our curb. Why are you outside? Why are you in Burbank, homeless people? Get out of here. Don't come into Burbank. You belong on Skid Row. It's easy to get real hard towards these people. It's easy to look at them and say, oh man, they're disgusting. And we don't say we're better than them, but deep down our heart, we think, oh, that's just so gross. I'm not like them. Better watch your heart, because that person is just as valuable to God as you are. It don't matter if you live in a Burbank mansion or a Studio Hills mansion or Hollywood Hills mansion. It don't matter what mansion you think you live in, or if you live in a cardboard box. It don't even matter if you don't even have a box, okay? You're just living on the street corner. You are valuable to God because you have the image of God stamped on you. Oh, God determines value differently than we determine value. The woman was searching for the coin. She wanted to have all coins. She loved them. God values human beings. I think about my own children. I have 4 daughters. Pray for me. And I coach my daughters in softball, and they're really good, man. They get all my DNA in them. And anyways, just joking. And last season at the softball game, a parent in the stands, my wife gets so embarrassed of me, but a parent in the stands was like, oh boy, one of those parents. And, I get all loud and excited with my kids, and, I'll cheer them on and go, go, go. And, Lissy doesn't even know which way to run around the bases yet, but I'm screaming like, ah! And then I'm like, Lissy, you scored. And she's like, I did? Cool, can I go get a Kool-Aid? She don't care. But man, I love my kids, and I want to cheer them on, and I'm determined. I'm for them, man. I'm excited for them, and I think God, man, even though sometimes people don't even want God in their life, they're ignorant of God, God is still right there pursuing them and loving them. People that say they don't even believe in God, people that say that they don't even think there is a God, God is right there pursuing you. He's after you because He loves you. Your value is infinitely beyond what we can ever think of or imagine, because you bear the image of God stamped on your life. You are valuable to God. And oftentimes we don't see value in people like God does. Oftentimes we assume that God is like us when it comes to searching. He does it for a while and He gives up. But may we be a church that loves people and that is open to all people, because God values all people. Second thing I want to give you is this one right here. May we be a church. 4 principles of a church that loves people. We are a church that is open to all people. Secondly, we are a church that is driven by mission. A church that is driven by mission. Church, listen, we got a mission here at City Light. We don't just come and join City Light because we say, well, I got to be a part of a church, and I feel bad if I don't go to church. I got to go to church, and it's like joining a country club, right? I got my golf membership. I got my gym membership. I got my Ralph's card where I get my little points at Ralph's. I got to be at a church. I got my church membership. I'm good. I got a balanced life. Got all the memberships on the shelf. Oftentimes, I think we view it that way. Oh, church is so much more than a membership. It's a partnership. If you're just looking for a membership, City Light, my friend, listen, it's not for you. We are looking for people to say, you know what? We are partners of a mission. We are partners of a mission, not just looking for the pastor or the few leaders of the church to do all the work and to give all the barking orders. No, we all together as a church community come together saying, hey, we've got a mission, and the mission is to reach LA with the gospel of Jesus Christ, the 17 million plus people and the 300 million people in the United States and the 7 billion people in the world today. We've got a mission. It's more than just gathering on a Sunday and checking the box and saying, man, I came to church. Man, I slayed the fatted calf this week, man. I came to church. And they even threw a 20 in the offering plate. I'm doing good. But it's much bigger than that. It's much more than just coming and sitting on a seat. It's much more than just attending a Bible study. It's much more than just showing up. No, it is you saying, I've got a mission. I've got a purpose. It is to come and see Jesus, but then to go and to make Jesus famous in LA. To make Jesus popular, to talk about him, to lift him up, to share the gospel. Notice what he says in verse 21 of Luke 14, the words of Jesus, illustration. Go out, go out. Notice, go out. Let's say it together. Go out. Notice the word quick. Let's say it all together. Go out quickly. Hey, you shouldn't be lethargic when you're serving Jesus, man. Oh, just another day, man. Oh, another year. Oh, another year, yeah. Just getting by. I got Monday work. Oh, yeah. You know, I think we all get excited about something. It's amazing what love can do. Some of you love degrees. That's why you get so excited about getting a degree. Some of you love titles. That's why you get so excited about trying to get a new title. I mean, some of you you love, I think about meeting my wife, and I loved my wife. I did stupid things when I fell in love with my wife, man. I just, love pushes you to do crazy. I mean, love pushes you in ways that nothing else does. And I think about this idea here. Jesus is saying, listen, hey, do you love me? Like he told Peter, do you love me? Hey, do you love me? Hey, go feed my sheep. He says, go out quickly. Verse 23, notice what he says in Luke 14. Go out to the highways and hedges and compel them to come in. Go, go, go. Notice the very last command that Jesus gave. It's like the very last words Jesus gave before he left. Those are important words right there. I mean, Jesus could have given us any kind of word. Go get a degree. Go to church. I think you ought to stop going to church, honestly. Stop going to church. Because Jesus never gave the command just to go to church. See, the command, see, when you go get people, you'll want to come to church. Because you'll want to bring them where they can grow. I mean, we just go to church on our own. I go to church. It's Sunday. I go to church. I'm going to go to church. I'm going to church. He didn't say go to church. But notice what he says, the very last words of Jesus, Matthew 28:19. Go therefore and make disciples of all nations. That is the very last words of Jesus right there. I'm not downplaying church. Jesus instituted the church. The whole New Testament is about the foundation, the function, the future of the church. I believe in the local church, but I'm just saying the very last words of Jesus was not go to church. It was not go sing worship, go buy a Christian worship album. It wasn't none of that. It was go get people. Go get people. Go, 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 go. And City Light, may we be a church that is driven by mission. Honestly, when is the last time that we have engaged in a conversation with someone about Jesus? And you say, oh, they're so lost. You know who they voted for last election? They're so lost. Judging them. You're just being prejudiced. Right? You're saying, oh, they don't want to hear nothing. Oh, they work in the industry. They probably are so lost. They don't want to hear about Jesus. How about you try? See, you're jaded. That's what you are. You're jaded. LA will make you jaded. Oh, yeah. Real quick. Just call, just get Rub Grub or whatever it's called. Just get the food delivered. I don't want to go see nobody, man. I hate LA. Traffic. Grubhub. That's what it's called, Rubhub. Grubhub. Whatever it's called. I don't use it, okay? Anyways, I go to McDonald's drive-thru, just joking. And we can get jaded sometimes. No one wants to hear about Jesus in my workplace. Have you tried? And no one wants to hear about Jesus. We assume so much. Maybe they don't want to hear about it from you because your testimony's so bad. They don't want to hear about it from you because you burned the bridge, because you talked louder about things you shouldn't have been talking about. Should have been quieter about things that don't really matter in eternity and been quieter on those issues. Let government figure those out and talk about Jesus. Saying, church, who are we going after right now? We are a church that is, we say, well, we love people, but we're just going to wait for them to come to City Light. I just fund the offering here. That's what I do. I stand at the door and I usher. That's how I love people. That's great. I'm glad you give money. Keep on giving, man. Give more. I'm glad you stand at the door and usher. Keep on doing it. But may it go past that. May we be a church that is driven by mission. Jesus did not say go usher at a door or go give in the offering, even though he talked about money at times. The Great Commission, the very last words of Jesus was go get people. Who are we getting? The very last words of Jesus.
In 2019, we're going to institute something here at City Light, and I'm going to have you ushers give it out right now. And I didn't tell you guys really where we're going to give it out, but just kind of waiting for the Lord to lead here. But I want to have you guys, everyone get one of these cards. You guys going to put these out, ushers. This right here is a 52-week challenge. I want to challenge you in 2019. 2019, right here, right now, that you are going to say, in 2019, I'm going to find one person a week to invite to church. One person a week to share Jesus with. If the conversation goes toward inviting them to church, great. If it just goes to you sharing Christ with them, great. But you're going to say, listen, I'm going to find at least one person a week for 52 weeks to share Christ with, to invite to my church, to bring them to a place where they can grow. We want to connect people to Christ and the church. We'll talk about the church in a moment and the value that a church brings to people in their life. But we're going to connect them to Christ and the church. So for 52 weeks, I'm going to go and I'm going to find someone one a week. And on the spots here, it gives you 4 weeks in January. Just to write on that week one, who are you going to invite? Write their name down. Think about them. Well, I don't know nobody. Yeah, you do. Think right now. Think about that Starbucks worker you get a latte from every week that you just buy your drink and go. Come on, just close that eyes. Just think about that person you pass by at work. Well, they're mean. They don't like nobody. Stop judging people. Stop just kind of saying, oh, I'm just going to judge them and think what they never would want to. How do you know they don't want to come? You know the studies show that if people are invited, the high percentages they are to actually go to church? And if they are invited by someone that has a relationship with them, the percentages are so high, it's almost near 100%. People that have a relationship with you, they will come when you invite them. It's incredible. Building that relationship, getting to know them, and saying, listen, I'm going to think of 52 people. And imagine a City Light if every one of us for 52 weeks made an effort to invite someone to church and to Jesus Christ. Imagine the difference that could make in our LA area right there. Now listen, I'm all for tools like social media. I was listening to one pastor in LA bragging about how they've grown their church 100% off of Instagram. That's great, man. Praise God for Instagram. But I'll tell you right now, people should be building church. If you want to use social media as a platform, use it. But more importantly, you better be saying, listen, I'm going to go get people. I'm going to go get someone. I'm going to go and find someone. I'm going to go and invite them, my coworker, my neighbor, someone next to me. We're going to bring them to church. Bring them to Christ. 52-week challenge. I pray that as we go into 2019 that you say, you know what? You may get, what if you just got 40% of the people you invited to come? That'd be pretty good than you did last year, huh? If we had to raise the hands, how many of City Light have had someone come that you've invited? I don't know how many hands would go up. I don't want to put them on the spot, but maybe even bigger than that. How many people in this room have actually led someone to Christ? You led them to Christ. Outside that, how many people? And I pray in 2019 we go deeper as a church and say, listen, what does loving people look like? We better be a church that is driven by mission, and it's bigger than just sitting on a seat. It's bigger than just standing at a door. It's bigger than just giving an offering. Hey, all those things are good, but may we on purpose go and find people to bring to Christ. And you may even want, what I'm going to do is I'm going to give you this card at the end of every month. So at the end of January, we're going to give you a new one. As you go into February, you're going to sit down at your coffee, whatever you do, and you're going to sit down and you're going to think. You're going to mentally think, okay, I'm going to invite Joe at Starbucks. I'm going to invite Johnny over there at McDonald's that I shouldn't be eating at. I'm going to invite, my coworker there. Yeah, they look mean, but I'm going to invite them. That neighbor of mine, I'm going to bring them cookies, and I'm going to try to invite them and open up in a conversation about Christ. Maybe just, hey, can I tell you, Joe, about how I got saved? What does that mean? How I got in a relationship with Christ? Would you like to come and meet my friends at my church? And would you like to hear Bible study done with you about who Jesus is? I mean, it's the end of every month, just visualizing people that you are going to engage with on purpose, and you're going to write their names down. And by the end of 2019, who knows what God could do with your names that you've invited. And I pray that God will use this tool as we go into this year. Number 3, what is a church that loves people look like? The third principle I want to give you is this one. We are a church that is never satisfied. I love this here. I saw this week, and I was like, man, I almost did a backflip in my trailer. Okay, I'm not lying to you. 300 square foot trailer. You know how crazy I am, right? I run laps around the trailer. Luke 14. Luke 14, 21 through 23. Notice what he says. Go out quickly into the streets and lanes of the city and bring in here the poor and the maimed and the lame and the blind. The servant said, Master, what you commanded has been done, and yet there is room. Then the master said to the servant, go out to the highways and hedges and compel them to come in, because I want my house to be filled. See, a lot of times we say we're like the master. We do the first part and we say, well, I tried to invite them, and I taught, well, Pastor Nick, I was in church when you were in diapers, man. I did my part, Yeah, but there's still room. Oh, I gave hundreds of thousands to the church, or I gave 10,000 to get this building open, or I did. Yeah, but there's still room. We opened a building in Burbank, and yeah, we got a building open now. I ran my race. I've been faithful for 5 years, man. I've been a deacon. I've been a life group leader. I've been teaching in children. I'm just going to take a break, but there's still room. See, Pastor Nick, when do we stop building? Well, there's still room. There's 17 million in LA, they say. There's 300 million. There's 7 billion in the world. When do we stop? There's still room. We must be a church that is never satisfied. Oh, we're gonna have another building We're gonna expand. Oh, we're gonna open a church in San Fernando. Oh, we're gonna open a church in Culver City. Oh, we're gonna church plant over in LA. Oh, we're gonna maybe buy up some more property around here. Oh, we're gonna try to continue to add 3 services, Pastor, in February. Yeah, if you just heard, we're opening a 3rd service here at City Light. It's coming, man. Oh, Pastor, you're going to preach 3 times on a Sunday? Yeah, and I'll preach 4 or 5 or 6 if I have to. Why? Because there's still room. That's my motivation right there, church. When I feel like quitting, I got to go back and say, yeah, Nick, but there's still room. When do we stop? Never. Because there's still room. And if you are thinking as you go into New Year and you're trying to find your motivation, I need motivation. I just feel tired. I feel weary. I feel like I've given money. I've served. I get it, man. I've been there. I get it, man. Believe me. But there's still room. Still room. As long as there's still room, church, we keep going. As long as there's still room, we keep expanding. As long as I realize there's other churches reaching LA. We praise God for other churches. No church is our competition that's preaching the real gospel. They're preaching the real gospel. We're for them. We cheer them on. But God's called us to have a mission. God's called this local church to have a mission. God's given us here a purpose and a reason, and may we continue to realize until there are people, we're never going to be satisfied. We are a church that is never satisfied, a church that loves people. And number 4, I want to give you this right here. What does a church that loves people look like? I want to give you the value statement one more time before we go into this 4th point. You guys put it on the screen. We love people by connecting them to Christ and the church. I want to talk about the church for a moment. We talked about Christ, talked about reaching people and bringing them to Jesus, but now we're going to talk about the church for a moment. The church. Notice our principle number 4. Here it is, write it down. We are a church that believes we are better together. We are a church that believes we are better together. We are a church that believes and sees the value of being in relationships. Notice what Jesus says in verse number 23. And it just kind of glared at me. So that my house may be filled. Now, to be honest with you, I like my space. I hate going to Portos. I love the food. Those stinking balls, potato balls. Oh, my word. Oh, my word. I'm hungry right now thinking about them. I'll tell you right now, dude, I love Chick-fil-A. You put one of those spicy chickens on my head, my tongue will eat my brain out trying to get to it. It's good. Thing's amazing. You know the one in Burbank's going to be so crowded, man. I want my space. I hate crowds. Our family, for just trying to be wise with our decisions of a family, we've decided to move in, and we're going to do it for a little while until we can't stand each other. Into I said a 400 square foot trailer a couple weeks ago. We got home measured. It's like 300 square foot, and we're living in an RV, and that's what our family's living in. 4 kids, and hey, we love it, man. Come visit us, all right? And one thing me and my wife are talking about in this RV, we have a couch, a little sofa. And you know, like literally, like me and my wife sit on there, and it's like full, okay? And at our other houses we've had, you know, we had like the couch. You know, we came from Arkansas, and we owned a 2,000 square foot house. You know, you got the dining room here, the dining room there. You know, why do you need 2 eating areas? I don't know. You know, you got the front room, the living room. You got so much space, 3 bathrooms. You know, maybe 5. I mean, it's just crazy, crazy. And you can get on a couch and you can spread out. You know, the house we were living in here in Burbank for a while, you know, you got the big couch. You know, you all got your own space. You know, my territory, right? You know, you got the kids over here. Everyone got their space. And our little trailer now, it's like, you want to watch TV? It's like, all right, we got to fit 6 bodies on a love seat. And yeah, that's how we watch TV every night now. But you know one thing, after 2.5 months of doing it so far, we have seen God bring our family closer together than we've ever been in a big old house. In that little trailer, with that little couch, sitting there, and you got the, you know, Charlie's butt in your face, you know, and you got like Lissy here, and Amy's legs up on you, and you know, you're my wife, you know, her butt, my face. I'm just joking. You got everyone sitting on everybody. You know what, though, man? Before, it was like kids are in the room, man. We don't got go in your room. Let mommy and daddy have the couch. Or sit on that side of the couch. I got my couch. Don't give me space. I need space. You got the kids' room to watch TV. You watch TV in your room. We're watching TV in our room, right? We have all these divisions in the house. What we've seen is there's nowhere to go, so we're forced to love each other. And when I think about this idea of my house may be filled, I think about the idea of God knows we need each other. You and I were created to be in a relationship. That relationship is in your DNA. It's in you to be in a relationship. You were created that way. Jesus said in the very garden to Adam, or God said to Adam, it's not good that man will be alone. I'm giving him a wife, a relationship. Then man began to have children and have relatives and family, and then we see the society grow. God created you and I to be in relationships. And many times you will battle depression, and you'll battle anxiety, and you will battle stress, and you will battle the hardness of life. Life is difficult. And oftentimes what you're missing to help you get by is a good relationships that you have in your life. God knows you and I need to be in a house that is filled, even though we at times want to be in our own little house and we get jaded from LA and, you know, just leave me alone. I don't want to be in a group. You know, I hear pastor all the time talk about life groups. If you're not in a group, you're just in the crowd. Yeah. Oh, yeah. I mean, I know I become a broken record sometimes to you guys. You know, a church is not done in rows. A church is done in circles. Church is not just come sit on a row and then run out of here and do life on your own. That is not church. That is you living in a big old house in your section of the house, and you got your kids in one section, your wife in one section, you got the man cave outside all alone. Leave me alone. But God knows you are better together. We are better together, and if we are going to be a church that loves people, we must believe that we are better together. And that's why in Acts chapter 2, the very foundation of the church, we see it taught to us. In verse number 46 of Acts chapter 2, this was the start of the New Testament church. And they continuing daily with one mind in the temple. That's corporate worship right there, temple. But remember, church is not done in rows, it's done how? Circles. If you're not in a group, you're just in the what? The crowd. Oh, the temple's good. Come to corporate worship. Come to the temple. Come to church, man. Come gather. Let's sing together. Let's pray together. Let's preach together. But then they went to their homes and breaking bread from house to house. And they ate their food with gladness and simplicity of heart. They had no cares. They had no worries. It was all about Jesus, praising God and having favor with all the people. And the Lord added to the church daily those who were being saved. I'll tell you right now, the more unified City Light becomes, the more attractive we'll be to our city. The more we love each other in this city, the more we love each other in this group, in this village right here at City Light, the more we love each other, the more we do life with each other, the more we do group together, the more we're in community together, the more we're doing life together because we believe we are better together. The more that happens, the more attractive that becomes to people in our society. Because people are created to be in relationships. That's how God made you. That's how God made me. It's not designed for you just to come and have your little section of the church and leave. No, filled, together, connecting, loving, praying, doing life together, studying, opening your arms up to people. You know, if you're going to do that, you're going to have to be vulnerable. You're going to have to be vulnerable. You know what I've learned about people? People that act like they have it all together. There's people at every church act like they have it all together. My stuff don't stink, I'm good. What I've learned about them is they're either faking it or they're lying because nobody has it all together. Everyone has hurts. Everyone's got sin struggles. Everyone's battling this thing called life. Everyone. Everyone here has a story. Everyone here's got hardship. And church, I'll tell you right now, people are not drawn to strength, they're drawn to weakness. Oh, you may make someone be like, wow. You may wow someone with your achievements, but you'll impact them when you connect with them in your weaknesses. When you open up and you share and you talk and you become vulnerable, you've got to be vulnerable. Because everyone knows what you know is you're broken. You ain't fooling nobody. You and I are broken. And we must be vulnerable. Think about this. We've got to channel distorted thinking. Oftentimes we think, well, I've been in a group before, and everyone, no one was nice to me. No one, opened their arms to me. It was a waste of time. Everyone just talked about, my pet cat died, and I was just like, yeah, can we talk about the Lord? I don't want to hear about the pet cat, Give people time to talk about their cat. People love their cats, okay. I've been in a group. I tried it. It wasn't for me. How about you channel that distorted thinking? Channel that distorted thinking and realize, listen, how about you give it a chance again? Give it a chance again, church. As we go into a new year, give it a chance again, because if we are going to be a church that loves people, we must understand that we realize that we are better together. There are people in this church that need you. There are people that aren't even in this church yet that will come in 2019 that need you. 100 people got saved in 2018. Our weekly attendance has grown by 100 people since 1 year ago. There'll be another growth. As we add a third service, there are going to be people that need you. Church ain't about you. There's going to be people that need you. Hey, channel distorted thinking. The third one, take a risk, man. Take a risk. Go and build a relationship with someone that don't look like you. Take a risk. Risk it. Like you asked your wife out to a date for the very first time. I don't know, will you go with me? Yeah, woo! Take a risk. Go out of your way and take a risk to build that relationship. Identify with others' hurts. I'll tell you right now, you'll make a lot of friends if you ask questions more than you tell people about yourself. If you ask questions about how other people are, you ask how they're doing, no one wants to hear about you. People are drawn to people that are interested in them. Ask questions about them, engage with them, identify with their hurts, open up. Trust God. Trust God. Trust God that He will use you and He'll use others to help you. You are missing something in your life, and what you're missing is the idea that you are better together. You weren't made to be alone. You were made to be in a relationship. And as we go into a new year, understand the value of church, the value of community. That's why our core value is to love people by connecting them to Christ and the church. Relationship, group, doing life together. And life group. Tell you right now, man, if you're having a hard time making friends in church, maybe learn to smile a little bit. People might be scared of you. Smile. It's good. Smile a little bit. Extend a hand, shake a hand. Spend a moment out in the lobby, talk with someone. Offer to help, offer to serve, offer to get involved. And see what a church can do to you in your life. Because we are better together. How do you lick loneliness? How do you get past loneliness? Belong. 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 Tell you right now, man, the world's a lonely place. I got 5 women in my life, and I'm still lonely at times. It's lonely. There's hurts. There's spiritual attack. There's something called the devil. He's a roaring lion. And he's going to come for you. He's going to attack the mind. He's going to tempt you. He's going to lie to you. He's the father of all lies. You need to belong. First and foremost, you need to belong in a relationship with Jesus. If you don't have a relationship with Jesus, start that relationship today. He loves you. He values you. Why? Because you were created in his image. And then belong to a church. Because in a community, you will find love. You will find friendship. You will find relationships. You will find that you are missing what you always wanted. And it's called Christian relationships. Fellowship. May we be a church that loves people by connecting people to Christ and the church. Join me in prayer, church. Lord Heavenly Father, we love you. God, we thank you so much for what a great God you are.